city dweller received about 1,000 advertising messages every day. Now let's do the math on that. There's 24 hours in a day. If you're good to yourself, at least 8 of those hours you spend sleeping, right? That's 16 hours remaining, okay? And let's assume then that in that 16 hours, that 8 of those hours, you're working. So that's 8 hours. In an 8-hour span that you're either commuting from home, from work, sitting in front of your television. This is only in the 1970s. That's way before the internet, and that's way before you had more than 4 channels, right? Now you got 1,000 channels, same thing on every channel. But back then you had 4 channels, right? And in the 1970s, you got bombarded. The average city dweller received 1,000 advertising messages per day. That's a lot in that 8-hour span. Today, it's closer to 5,000. 5,000 advertisements. 5,000 opportunities or ways for these companies to get you to become their customer. They're doing it effectively across all platforms. Some of them are doing it ineffectively, so they're just doing it a lot. Assuming then that quantity makes quality, which it doesn't. But 5,000. Do the experiment when you drive home. See how many ads you recognize. Just count. And then when you sit down and watch TV, honest to goodness, there are more commercials on TV than there are programs.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah, it really is.
There are way more commercials. And that's a part of that $544 billion. To get a 30-second television spot on American Idol, a 30-second commercial spot where that show was running, cost $750,000. For 30 seconds. $750,000. And whatever that product is, they're assuming that because so many people watch American Idol, that they're going to introduce or at least persuade you to take a look at their product, if not buy it. $750,000. They're communicating. They're communicating to us even though we may be unaware of it. In 2008, food companies spent $32 billion on advertising. Food companies alone. And the next one is before the car industry fiasco. That was $15 billion in advertising. $15 billion in advertising that promoted Toyota, Ford, Mazda, Lexus, all of them. They want you, now the difference, what's interesting about that is, if you're in a crisis, or if you just need to get somewhere, it really doesn't matter what car you're in. But they persuaded so many of us to purchase their brand. Because it means this, it means status, it means luxury. When they tell us that they're selling us the American dream, that's exactly what they're doing. It is the American dream, to be consumer. Most Americans, we want to have the home, the picket fence, we want to have the good annual salary job, and we want to be able to buy stuff that makes us comfortable. That is, America is built on capitalism alone. It absolutely is. It is built on capitalism alone. From the pilgrims to the slave trade to everything that followed, it's all about exploiting, and I don't mean this in a positive way, exploiting those who don't have so that those who do have can have more. That's capitalism in a nutshell. Now, what you do is considerably different. Because God has given you a gift, not to negatively exploit another person, but as Bishop Danley said, so that you can help other folks. You will be the small business that will provide jobs, that will provide a product and service for an individual or a group of individuals that couldn't get it anywhere else, the way that you get it. That's way different than exploiting. So you got to forgive me because I have difficulty with the term ministry of exploit. It's almost a misnomer, but I understand what they mean. But to be exploited is actually, in most connotations, very negative. Okay? You remember black exploitation films? Right, that was making us look bad for their profit. But what you're providing is something considerably different. God has given you a vision. He's given you a gift. Remember in the Bible, the parable of the talents. Okay? He gave one guy 1, the other guy 5, the other guy 10. Right? It was only the prudent individuals that came back with more. Which means that God does, when He gives it to you, He wants you to come back with more. So He can say, well done, my good and faithful servant. That's what He wants. That's not to say, I'm not making this point to say that you are not supposed to take your gift and make it profitable. I am, however, saying that the profit should not go in your pockets necessarily and solely. The profit is to build His kingdom. That's different. So yes, you have a gift and it will make you probably wealthy if you do it the way God set it up. But it won't just make you wealthy. It'll make the individuals around you better people. And by wealth, I don't necessarily mean monetarily. If your life is becoming rich, that's wealth. If you live a better life, if you can wake up in the morning and don't have to stress because you got to go to work, your life is infinitely better. If you're not sitting at the edge of your bed like, man, if I could do this one more time, boy, I'm going to shot somebody. If you don't have to do that, your life is infinitely better. And what happens if you make your business environment that way where everybody wants to come to work? Say you had 20 employees. You just improved the quality of life for 20 people. They sleep better, they eat better, they treat their spouses better, they treat their children better, all because you did what God told you to do the way God told you to do. That's not exploitive at all. That's a blessing.